becomes really ugly. Unfortunately, this seems to have also a cultural element to it that I do not understand. Walid Shoebat is Middle Eastern, and many people with a Middle Eastern mindset confuse the loudness of the rhetoric and the temperature of the language used with demonstration of truth. So if you yell loud and you insult your opponent appropriately, you win. And it's sadly obvious the Shoebats do function on that level.
What is that? Walid Shoebat is Middle Eastern. And many people with a Middle Eastern mindset confuse the loudness of the rhetoric and the temperature of the language used with demonstration of truth. So if you yell loud and you insult your opponent appropriately, you win.
Hold on. Maybe for those who are not Middle Eastern, they did not feel what I feel. I am Middle Eastern too. According to Mr. James White, the way I talk involved with my race. I am a Middle Eastern. So our race is wrong in the way we took things. Our race have a problem. Our race is the kind who yell to prove you wrong. We shout to win. But you know, last time I checked the gospel, I found that everyone in the Bible, in the Old Testament and the New Testament, is a Middle Eastern. Everyone. Something wrong with the Middle Eastern. So I'm not sure how this racist comment from James White about race and behavior fit with him being a minister of Christ. He will prove us to be wrong by making a statement that we are people who shout. We have a mental issue. We have a culture issue. And this is the culture of the Middle Eastern. We shout to prove ourselves to be true or to be right. We yell at him, and that makes us win. I wonder what James White will say about Jesus when he entered the temple and he flipped tables. So the logic of Mr. James White is very naive, very childish. But yet he claimed to be a scholar in the gospel. He's attacking Christians from the Middle East for being Middle Eastern under what is called, and I quote what he said, Middle Eastern mindset. Are we going to talk about Peter mindset, Paul mindset, or maybe Jesus mindset? And maybe we cannot, because the Middle Eastern mindset have a problem, maybe we should buy some mindset from eBay. What kind of mindset you want me to get for you, Mr. James White? Mindset from Asia, Africa, or Europe? I'm not going to go on the racism issue, but obviously you are making racism comments about us based on our race, not based on facts. You know what? I think you have a wrong mindset, because you put in your mindset that Middle Eastern, they are like this. And if they shout, it means they are wrong. And by the way, you did not even talk to them voice to voice. They are just using text. I don't know how they can shout in the text. think this is a new technology. Because what I heard you saying, they sent you an email, right? They were shouting in the email. Their voice was loud in the email. You are the only one who can hear text. I think you are using, like text dictation. The solution is just put your speaker down. So what James White do is kind of, this is how I see it. I'm not insulting, by the way. It's a childish talk. Like, I don't see a growing, a mature person who speak to us with logic. But yet he tried to insert a certain logic in your mind that those Middle Eastern, they are a bunch of garbage. This is how they talk. They talk to us by shouting, etc. He forgot that none of you Christians knows about Christ unless the Middle Eastern taught you. He forgot that all the disciples of Jesus are Middle Eastern.
Unfortunately, this seems to have also a cultural element to it that I do not understand. Walid Shoebat is Middle Eastern, and many people with a Middle Eastern mindset confuse the loudness of the rhetoric and the temperature of the language used with demonstration of truth. So if you yell loud and you insult your opponent appropriately, you win.